How about that, everybody? I mean, oh my gosh, those of you who are like still you know, are like able to join us right now, I know a bunch of people are going to come in. That was incredible. That was huge. I mean, first ever home playoff win for the Seattle Kraken, first overtime playoff game to get that big goal from Jordan Eberle, see him get on there, power play goal. I mean, just all of it was amazing. Is the bottom line. It was amazing. This was a fantastic game for a lot of reasons. Obviously, there's some horrific parts of this game too that we will talk about, of course, talking about the Jared McCann situation and everything. But I mean, this was a game in which the Kraken outplayed the Colorado Avalanche to tie this series. And this is what we wanted, right? This is what we had talked about after the last game. Tie this series up, go back to Colorado, make it a best of 3 series with 2 games on the road, because that's what the Kraken do, right? And we're in that situation now. And it was, oh man, this was a huge game for the Kraken. I mean, just, they had the early lead. They lost the early lead. To be able to come back and win in overtime like that is a really big deal. They fixed the face-off issue. They got a couple power play goals. They're big. They're physical. They blocked a ton of shots. I mean, there's just so much good stuff to talk about on this playoff edition of Post Game Live. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thanks to Queen Anne Beer Hall for sponsoring this. I cannot imagine what that place must be like right now. Oh my gosh, just like Climate Pledge, because this was just, it was an insane game. Insane way to finish it. Fantastic way to finish it. This game. Oh, there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to start it off though with the super chat here from Seth. That game was next level intense. It was. This is the first one that felt like a hardcore playoff game, and we got a little bit of all of it, right? There was officiating controversy. No, right? It sucks that that's got to be part of the narrative, but it's part of the narrative. You had the Kraken with 52 hits in this one. This was the game that felt the most physical this entire series for a lot of different reasons, but this game was crazy, crazy physical. And then you've got the overtime, right? Those are the 3 things that just make it feel like that. It's one of those classic playoff hockey games. I think we are well on our way to working towards having a rival here in the Colorado Avalanche. I know, there's plenty of reasons, and again, we'll talk about it soon. Plenty of reasons for us to feel that way. But I think as we're, kind of really giving them a hard time here as they start their title defense, they're not happy. It is clear the players have been talking about how frustrating that this has been, how good the Kraken are, how tough this series has been on them. Nathan McKinnon with that infamous quote after the last game. I think that's a big deal. And then you can sure see it from their fans on Twitter. I tell you what, the Colorado fans are certainly feeling this, and they are not happy with us being this plucky underdog trying to make it all happen. But the bottom line is the Seattle Kraken tonight, no matter what metric you look at, the Kraken outplayed them. You almost doubled the shots on goal. They won the faceoff battle. Won the special teams battle. More hits, more blocks. The deserved to win-o-meter was like a joke in favor of the Kraken all day long on this one. Just, it is so good. So good. So much great stuff. And of course, Gregory coming in here with the super chat. Lemon lime Gatorade time, baby. I got you right here. Oh, that tastes good after the overtime, let me tell you. The arena was electric. This was my first ever playoff game in any sport. Finally scoring on the power play was oh so sweet. I am so happy for you, Gregory, and everybody else who was able to attend this one in person. That crowd was fantastic, and good on all of you for booing Cale Makar every time he touched the puck. That was, I thought, really good and fantastic. All that good stuff there, especially on the power plays. Passing and handling the puck, that was fantastic. The crowd was huge tonight. I mean, there was times you could tell players were having a hard time hearing the whistle just because of how electric that crowd was. So super happy for you, Gregory. Happy for everyone who was there. Thanks for the super chat. Light with the super chat. Every player who had a bad game last game came out proud of Ebbs. He earned it. We have a game 6, and the NHL has been made well aware of who the hell we are. We are definitely on the radar. So many national pundits, nobody was picking us to really do what they're doing in this series. And, we talked at the last game, we were keeping it close. We were keeping it close. We're frustrating them. We're doing those things. If the Kraken, they can just kind of tweak one of those three issues that's been bothering them, they're right back in this. They can totally take game 4. We can make this a best of 3 series, all of that stuff. And the bottom line is the Kraken fixed all of it, right? The power play was struggle, 2 for 5 tonight, including on that game winner. At least I think it was, right? Yeah, it was. I just want to make sure it didn't expire and I was technically wrong. The Kraken, they fix the power play. They come out swinging there. Face-offs, 56% in favor of the Kraken in this one. Everybody really able to get the job done. You know, credit to Matty Beniers getting up to 50% there on that. Yanni Gourde talked about this on the deep dive yesterday. He had really been the worst face-off man for the Kraken, 67% tonight. That's more than double what he was doing before in this series. So credit to those guys stepping up. Daniel Sprong, lots of talk about him last post game, also on the deep dive. Comes out, get that big power play goal to help put the Kraken up 2-0 earlier on. Jordan Eberle, somebody we talked about, maybe needing to start showing up a little bit more. Huge overtime game winner there. So this was, I mean, there was just so much about this game that was fantastic. And yeah, the bottom line is the Kraken needed to respond after that game 3 performance, and they did. Whether, you know, the team as a whole responded and a lot of individuals responded as well. And if the Kraken are going to be able to do that, we are not going away anytime soon. Colorado is going to have to really try to dig deep within themselves and try to come out, because the bottom line is, just like last game, their big guys were going, right? Mikko Rantanen getting a couple goals in this one. Nathan McKinnon looked pretty good. It's not enough. We've got the depth. They don't have the depth. They need to figure out a way of dealing with that. And it's going to be really hard for them. Certainly saying with the super chat here as well, the good treats for the goodest good girl. Definitely make that happen. See if we can get her back here. I think I've run out of the frosted ones, which is good because I'm still picking sprinkles out of my bed from game 1. Here she is. She's ready. She knows what's up. Thank you very much, Absurdly Sane, for the super chats. But yeah, this game, I mean, it had a little bit of everything for the playoffs. There you go, Afra. Good girl. It had a little bit of everything that you'd want in a playoff game. Is the bottom line, and that includes a Kraken win, Kraken home playoff win. That is something I'm super excited that we got to see. I'm super happy for all the fans in attendance that they got to see that, because I mean, that is just, it's got to be one of the most incredible feelings. I've never been there for it. I can only imagine, but it's got to be one of the most incredible feelings to see that. To have that home playoff win. Yeah, it's, man, just so much good stuff. I'm just still trying to wrap my head around it all. Michael, let's go. Cheered for the winner. I know. I mean, that whole sequence there was crazy for that final goal. The power play. I mean, what made the power play work on that one? We finally got to see a little bit of player movement. It was a great pass to get it to Jaden Schwartz for on the inside. For that, they utilized the inside. I mean, everything we were talking about the power play, they started doing there was they had the player movement and they got inside. It creates that great opportunity for Jaden Schwartz. Yeah, they make the save, but because of that player movement, because Eberle was already trying to work inside, he was able to be there for that rebound, send it rides right up his blocker and in for the OT winner. I mean, it was so good. It was really satisfying because of all of those things that we had talked about after last game about what the Kraken needed to be doing better, and to just have it all there, including winning the faceoff. I mean, just it was great. The bottom line is it's Kraken playoff hockey, baby. Schultz is saying there. It's so great. Schultz, does anyone else think if the Kraken laid the hit Makar did, it would have been a 5-minute major? All right. I mean, I'm trying to keep like the good vibes going for all this, but the bottom line is that does need to be talked about is the situation with the Cale Makar hit on Jared McCann. McCann obviously gone for the rest of this game. We will find out in the coming days the length of that injury, what it's really going to be as far as the series is concerned. But yeah, it's okay. So let's talk about it because there's a lot of aspects to cover. I'm sure we'll cover it and get RJ's opinion in a little bit. But for me, it's clearly interference. The puck is gone. There's been a whistle even, so it's a post whistle hit. All of that stuff, definitely a penalty. There's no way around that. It's absolutely a penalty. I think as far as the hit itself is concerned, the initial principal point of contact, because that's the big thing that the player safety department cares about, is that it is shoulder to shoulder. Um, so there's, it's not a boarding play because his back's not turned, and it was shoulder to shoulder, as well, as far as where the principal point of contact is. The follow through, though, is nasty and did not need to be there. That was completely unnecessary. He did not need to follow through with his hand, shoving his no, Afra, thank you. Shoving McCann's head into the boards like that. That was totally dirty. Absolutely think that was dirty. So there's that aspect of it. And so then we get to, well, what can you call this, right? Because if it's not boarding and all that kind of stuff, the bottom line is they call it interference, which is definitely is, because it's a play away from the puck. No arguments there with the fact that it's interference. Obviously, they call it the 5-minute major so that they can review it, and then they bring it down to 2. I looked into the rule book during that first intermission because RJ and I were texting. We weren't sure how high of a level can you go for an interference penalty as far as in-game punishment is concerned. And so I looked it up in the rule book at the ref's discretion, and this is the refs there. Toronto cannot make this call. This would be the refs in the building. At the ref's discretion for an interference call, it can be the 2 minutes that we normally see and that they ultimately called. It can be a 5-minute major if they so choose. They can also make it a game misconduct, which would have, of course, ejected Cale Makar from this game. He would have been removed from this game. The Kraken would have had a 5-minute major penalty. It's a 5-minute power play. You can score as many times as you want on it. It doesn't go away. And so that's where I think the sticking point lies with the refs in this game is I think that at the very least it should have been a 5-minute major because of how egregious it was as interference. Right? I'm not even talking about the hit itself, just the fact that there was a hit when the puck is in the other corner, whistle's been blown, the puck is not there, right? Cale Makar has to know that. And even if he doesn't, that's his excuse. That's not an excuse the refs can use to lessen the penalty. You know what I mean? The bottom line is, as far as I'm concerned, it was strong enough evidence of significant interference that it should have at least been the 5-minute major. I could see them not necessarily wanting to toss somebody in a big playoff game, especially a star player, whatever. But at the very least, it should have been a 5-minute major, just because of how egregious it was as an act of interference. The hit itself, I don't think he'll get much. I don't know that he'll get suspended for it because, again, Department of Player Safety for the last decade and a half, their big thing whenever it comes to hits and especially hits to the head and all that stuff is what was the principal point of contact. They're going to point to this and say it was shoulder to shoulder, and that they always just act like the follow through is just whatever. Like it doesn't matter as long as the principal point of contact wasn't a headshot, then they just don't care. I think this is going to be an interesting case to see from them because the follow through sure seems pretty intentional. Like this wasn't, oh, he hit him, and it wasn't like a Pavelski thing where he hit him and then, McCann fell upside down on his head and received the injury that way. This was very much Makar pretty intentionally slamming his head with his hand into the boards. I think that's what's going to be really fascinating to see as somebody who has seen a lot of Department of Player Safety videos. I'm very intrigued to see what they do. I would like to see Cale Makar get some form of suspension or something, because again, also the interference is inexcusable. You have to know where the puck is, and you have to know it's your responsibility as the player on the ice to know that McCann does not have the puck there. It's your responsibility to hear the whistle. Those things did not happen. That has to happen. It has to happen. And you are Cale Makar. You are one of the best hockey players in the world. So the excuse of he just wasn't smart enough to understand that, I wouldn't buy that for a second. So those are my thoughts on the Jared McCann situation with the Cale Makar hit, all of that kind of stuff. I think that it should have been a 5-minute major. The refs had the ability to make it as such because of the interference. I think the hit, I'm not hopeful that we're going to see anything because the hit was shoulder to shoulder initially. And in general, we don't see punishment for follow through actions, only for the principal point of contact. Those are my thoughts. We will, of course, hear from RJ I think that that's going to be a big deal as well. Thank you everybody for being in here, by the way, as well. Tons of people in here, tons of chat to get through. So let's start going into this. Let's see here. So much elation at the top of chat. I absolutely love that. Um, James, what a battle back after losing Canner. Definition of team effort. Wow, wow, wow. For sure. We talked about this last time. This team is known for that. This is what we know as Kraken fans watching every game of this team. We know that this team battles back. They don't give up. They show up the full 60 minutes. Absolutely love it. Ty and karma prevails. Absolutely. And that was fantastic. I also like that, on the resulting power play, Daniel Sprong scores that power play goal. Scored it basically doing what Jared McCann does, right? He was up in that Jared McCann kind of spot on the ice on the power play. He walked in, coming in towards the slot from that kind of, that angle that McCann likes to take, and he was able to score the goal. I thought that was kind of like a good karma moment to get back at the Avs for the situation. Yeah, the whole thing was absolutely fantastic. Another super chat here from Aaron. I am never coming down from that greatest sports experience ever. Let's go. Sorry for the all caps. Do not be sorry for the all caps. You are screaming. You are excited. You are happy, Aaron, and so am I. I'm speaking in all caps right now. Oh man, absolutely love it. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, there is no need to come down from this at all for a little while there. You really, really don't need to. Oh man, I hope everybody is super, super happy for all this. Let's see here. Another one. Let me go down here. Edward, anybody who thought the Kraken would be an easy out were sorely mistaken. Squid Squad for real. Let's go Kraken. Totally. Totally. Thank you for the super chat, Edward. And it's true, right? I mean, we saw it. Nobody was picking us to win this series, and we are here. It is tied 2-2. We're going back to Colorado. We are an incredible road team. We absolutely know that. I think this game 5 is going to be huge. The Kraken are going to come out. They're going to come out strong. We know that from this series. They come out. They've scored the first goal in each game. Oh man, it is absolutely fantastic. Okay, so I'm seeing in here down at the bottom here, from Q Stealth. Thank you so much. You're putting in the Cale Makar quote, so I do want to get to that. Let's go ahead and cover that. Makar, I didn't feel like I tried to finish him that far. I feel like if I was in that scenario, they would have done the exact same thing. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. Okay. I mean, what else are you supposed to say in that situation? I guess. And then from Q Stealth as well, he said he wasn't sure where the puck was and thought McCann was going to the corner for the puck. I mean, that's obvious. There's no other reason to do what you did and to hit McCann the way that you did. Again, like I said, that's an excuse Cale Makar can have. That's not an excuse the refs can use as for why they didn't call it a major. And so, Cale Makar, that's all the stuff I expected him to say. I'm sure that there is definite, that's his truth and whatever. But again, I still don't think that that's enough to have it only be a 2-minute minor penalty. I just don't. When the puck is so far gone. I mean, if this was a high stick situation, right? Like you're calling that. If it was a board or something like that, any other sort of dirty play, the refs are calling that. Like they would say it's your responsibility to know. If you didn't know that, well, it doesn't matter. It's your responsibility to not hit somebody from behind into the boards or to, high stick somebody, right? You're always responsible for your stick. That is the letter of the law when it comes to everything. So why that doesn't apply to this situation while the puck is like completely somewhere else. It's not even in TV camera frame. I don't get that. I think that that's something that the refs internally are going to have to deal with. Seth with the super chat here. Did you kind of feel like the hit on McCann was planned? Take out our best player, but forget the depth. I don't think so. I really don't. Just being honest, I don't think so. And I mean, to be honest, McCann, we talked about him on the deep dive. We talked about him last game. He'd actually been struggling in this series. So if you were to choose somebody on the Kraken, I don't know that McCann would be the person that you would really kind of single out to go after. Like I said, I do believe Makar probably did think that the puck was there. I understand that, right? When it was live and all happening, I just kind of assumed because that's what was going on, that the puck was there. I also think that if there was anything, there was an element of Makar lost his temper because he had just gotten burned on a breakaway while the Avs were on a power play. And he was frustrated and he was a little ticked off that that turnover happened and Maddie made that great pass back and that it was him and his responsibility that McCann got behind him, got behind his back. He didn't see him. And so I think that there was a little bit of that from the car. That's where you see that extra little bit of follow through. Again, that's speculation on my part, but I could see that, like, thinking as a player, that's, I would be feeling really pissed off there. I think that there's an element to that. I don't think that it was targeting McCann. I don't think that there was anything like that. I don't think that it was premeditated in any way. I just don't. That's just my honest take. And yeah, so I believe Makar in the sense that, I think that he thought that maybe the puck was there and everything, but the bottom line is that's not an excuse from the official standpoint. LGG with the super chat. Unbelievable Kraken hockey. Can't wait for game 6 at home. Oh my, me either. Me either. Oh my gosh. That is fantastic for that. Oh, I just can't wait for game 6 at home either. And think about it, right? Kraken could have a chance to clinch the series for that game. Oh my gosh, ticket prices for that are gonna go insane if that situation happens. Not that I'm trying to give anybody nightmares at almost 11 o'clock at night here on the West Coast. All right, so I'm just gonna try to find my way through this chat. Everybody in here, 184 at the moment. Love to see it. Tom, I don't know what to do with my hands. Tell me about it. I guess at least I get to scroll through chat. Michael, I think I woke my neighbors up. You know what? Go for it, Michael. Just make them Kraken fans. Tell them. Don't they want that excitement too? What we're all going through? Who wouldn't want this in your life? It's so incredible. I love it. I love Canner, but Trey. But trade McCann for Makar if he's suspended is a good deal for us, honestly. Net positive from Coop. I mean, Makar is an incredible player. I guess technically you're right. I still wouldn't want the situation to play out the way that it went. I just really wouldn't. Paul with the super chat here. Rebecca and I went to this game tonight. Congrats, Paul. I hope you both had a fantastic time. Total blast. Epic celebration. Thanks, Dylan, for kicking off this dance party. Come and get your love. Never sounded so sweet. Thanks to RJ. Definitely. Oh, man. I got to imagine everybody there. There must have been a good dance party in there as well, everybody, right? Like, just after that game. And I love the team saluting the fans on the ice as well as they were celebrating it all. Just fantastic. So fantastic. Let's see. Makar is going down as one of the most hated players by the Kraken now, up there with Tyler Myers from Walt. Definitely. I mean, game 6 going to come back to Seattle. I guarantee you those boos are going to keep happening for every single time he touches the puck. I really doubt that's going away. Autumn, what a game. Makar, public enemy number 1. See, that's what I'm saying. That's going to stay that way for a little while. In order to keep the stream monetized, here are my thoughts on Makar. Bleep, bleep, bleep from Nathan. Thank you very much for looking out for us there, Nathan. Oh, man. Gordy, greetings from the Brighton pub in Vancouver. First Seattle win in a Stanley Cup game on home ice since 1919 in the playoff. It's incredible. It is so fantastic. Love to see it. Another historic first for us. Get to be here and celebrate with everybody. It's so great. Air, so glad for this win by the Kraken. Payback for McCann. Congrats to Kraken fans for first ever home playoff win. Let's go. Definitely. I mean, man, there's so much stuff. Joey, 14 more wins to go. 14. That's it. 14 more wins. That's right. Another puck gets to get added to the board. And in the locker room at Climate Pledge Arena, cannot wait for the video to go up on Kraken Twitter to see who gets to put that up. Who's getting the Davy Jones hat? I mean, I don't know if somewhere in all of this chat is somebody talking about that, but I mean, who do you give the Davy Jones hat to in this one? I mean, Ebbs got that game-winning goal, the OTGWG. Hard to argue against him, right? I think I'd probably go with Eberle because of that. I mean, Grubauer was really strong in this one. It was a total team effort, though. It's that's the issue, is that it's one of those games where the entire team just played fantastic. I'm looking at the box score right now. Jaden Schwartz had 11 shots on goal. Now, maybe that is gonna get corrected at some point and that someone put an extra digit there, but I that's entirely possible. Jaden Schwartz has really been one of the unsung heroes for the Kraken in this one. I know he scored some goals in the last game, but he has been fantastic. And you know, it was again, it was the play to him on the inside that produces the rebound that Eberle was able to use to score that game-winning goal. But 11 shots on goal from Jaden Schwartz. That Wenberg line having Geeky back was absolutely incredible and fantastic. Again, I'm refreshing my money puck so I can get the exact line stats from them. But I talk about it on the deep dive. They were producing for this Kraken team those first two games of this series. 80% of the expected goals when they was in favor of the Kraken when they were out there on the ice. I mean, it's an incredible line. Having Geeky back was a big deal for them. And yeah, again in this one, Wenberg, Geeky, Schwartz, they were only out there for 430 together. But the bottom line is when they are operating all on the same page, they are fantastic. And even the Wenberg, Schwartz, Tanev line that it kind of got switched around to after the injury to McCann, that one as well. I mean, just massively in favor of the Kraken, all the expected goals events. Just because, and a lot of that is because of Jaden Schwartz. He's a vet. He's been there, done that, won a Stanley Cup, all that stuff. He is bringing it. He is absolutely bringing it right now. Ty, Makar won't even get looked at playoff hockey, and he is a star. We got that W. That's our justice. I mean, the W is huge. It does help a ton. I mean, without that, the situation would be just awful. And yeah, like I said, I'm not hopeful for a suspension. I think they'll just look at it, say it was shoulder to shoulder, and move on. Unfortunately, that's just what I think is going to happen. But maybe they want to change things up, right? They suspended Michael Bunting 3 games. I didn't think they would do that, so it's possible. Gary said my super chat didn't go through. I'm sorry too, Gary. Yeah, that sucks. I don't know what's going on. I can tell that people from both sides of the, if you're using like an Android device or an Apple device, both of those are going through. That's the difference in the 99 versus the whole numbers, by the way, everybody. That's how you can tell. Just behind the scenes stuff. I'm really sorry about that, Gary, but I'll read your stuff anyway. I'll read your stuff, and glad to have you back in here for one of these too, as well, for the first time this playoff series. Bjorky just Bjorky, the biggest Bjorky game tonight from Kyle. I absolutely love it. Oliver Bjorkstrand has been fantastic. That line, that Gord line, they put in work again. I mean, I know they do it all the time, but they do. They're so good. Shoeshine in line for the monorail. I love this goddamn team. I do too, Shoeshine. Absolutely fantastic. I know you were in the building today as well. Hope you had a fantastic time. Lindsay, from scoring the winning goal for Team Canada to tonight, Jordan Eberle is the king of the game-winning goals. That's right. Jordan Eberle, he does have a history of this. He does know how to step up in the big moments, and he absolutely got that. One more time, just another feather in his cap of massive game-winning goals. Striatic Daniel Sprong, so proud of my boy for sure. He gets to take a victory lap there. Gabby, I would argue the Makar hit was worse than the Bunting hit on Chernak because the puck was fully out of play. Bunting was ejected and suspended 3 games. Where was that reffing tonight? Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where that was just a pure headshot. Like, he is just absolutely taking his head off. His head is turned. He is a completely defenseless player. I agree that as far as like a penalty goes, this is just like the most egregious form of interference I've ever seen. So that's definitely a problem. I just think that, again, Department of Player Safety, the line that they care about is the principal point of contact, and for this one, it was shoulder to shoulder on that initial hit. I don't know. Andy, is it just me, or are the refs kicking Kraken centers out of the faceoff dot more this series than Avs, and why is that the case? There's a lot of weird stuff that goes into the faceoff stuff. I've talked about this before. That's like my one area that I've just never really been able to get a grasp on in all of hockey. There's just a ton of stuff there. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to look at the numbers. I don't know if there's really been an imbalance as far as that goes. And it's also possible that it's just been, The Kraken, especially in this game, because they were really trying to make an effort to win faceoffs. That's really been the one thing that we've gotten from this team in some of the pressers and stuff is they know that they needed to win faceoffs more. So if they got tossed more tonight, pardon me, it was probably just because they were being that much more aggressive, really trying to jump the gun on those. So I could see a situation like that today where they would get tossed, jumping the gun a little bit because they knew the importance of faceoffs for this game. And the bottom line is they won the game and they won the faceoff battle tonight. Um, that dog is so ugly. It's cute. Get out of here. She's just beautiful. Get out of here. Uh, power play and faceoffs night and day from game 3 from Rick. Absolutely. I mean, I talked about it before. Got the player movement, got working inside on the power plays. That's why you get a couple goals there. That was fantastic to see. The faceoffs just talked about. They absolutely were going for it. They knew what they needed to do. Jules ripped my message, got eaten. Apologize. Is that another super chat? I have no idea what's going on because we've been getting the other ones. I'm very, very sorry, Gary and Jules. Very, very sorry. I don't know that there's really anything I can do is the problem on my end. I apologize. I'll just make sure to try to grab all your stuff in here. RJ with the can't wait to join. I know, I can't wait to have RJ hop in here as well and to hear from everybody after this one. Lindsay feels like the media is finally starting to take notice of this team, and I love it. Also, super happy for the W in front of all the Seattle celebrities. Oh, I got to imagine everybody was there for this game. That's fun for sure. Let's see. Dang, I was so elated and frustrated that I felt like the Avalanche felt like they were going to win it. And after the Eberle goal, I could say I screamed "F you" from Garrick. Oh, I love the passion, Garrick. Definitely, definitely. I mean, that's what playoff hockey's all about. Um, definitely. Impressive win for you Seattle fans from Connor. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. This is the first time this series that the Leafs and Kraken have both won on the same night. What a crazy comeback down 4-1 to start the third. Lindsay, I'll give it to you because it's you and you're in here all the time. But like, we don't need to talk about the Leafs winning. Come on, come on. Kraken won. There's no reason to talk about that. Rebecca, Kraken seriously entered the chat with this game completely. I mean, I can't wait to hear. Again, though, the problem is, right, we play on the same day as the Leafs. The Leafs suck all the oxygen out of the room whenever anything happens with them, especially on a day like today where they come back from a 4-1 deficit. That's gonna get a lot of attention. But I definitely think like story 2, it's gonna be a huge deal on everything, all the podcasts tomorrow, all the radio shows tomorrow, uh, all of it is going to be people talking about this game, talking about the Cale Makar hit. They are definitely going to talk about that, and talking about the fact that the defending champs have a real struggle on their hands right now with this incredibly deep and strong, and you never know who's going to show up on a nightly basis Seattle Kraken team, and I think that that's huge, and I'm happy too that we're just finally getting that recognition because the boys have deserved it all year long, no question about that. You know what I mean? Um, let's see. Rick, you can't analyze this without taking into account how late it was. He couldn't protect himself. Yeah, it's it's a weird one. I mean, there's just so much about it, and I really hope that the league does try to take a serious look at this one. Michelle, the Kraken just gave me the best birthday present ever. Yay! Happy birthday! Definitely cannot think of a better birthday present than this one for sure. Let's see. Lindsay, shout out to the Kraken too for not losing in triple overtime. The boys know I gotta wake up for work in the morning. Well, I know. We had on Discord and on Twitter, I was seeing all the East Coast fans talk about the game going to overtime because it was already 1 in the morning as we were on our way there. For sure. I mean, that's brutal. I feel for you all, but that's what being a diehard's all about. You're all good there. The way the thrift shop hockey, the way Colorado and their fans are treating this wild card Seattle team is like we are here to steal their candy instead of just happy golden retriever squids. I say screw it. Let's go take their candy then. Oh, definitely. Definitely, definitely, definitely. We got to go and get it and be a spoiler and do all of that stuff. We just have to. It's so much fun, right? I mean, watching them all freak out, it's fun. It's great. And hearing things like Nathan McKinnon talking about this being the toughest playoffs, all that kind of stuff. I absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. Gregory Eberle scoring the game-winning goal on Makar was sweet poetic justice. Oh, for sure, and thank you for the super chat there, Gregory. Absolutely, for sure. It was the best thing, like Ty said earlier, right? Like, us winning this game was the best form of justice that we could have gotten, after that whole situation. Gary with the super chat here as well. What a freaking game. So happy to be here with all of you. Thank you, everyone, for being here and making this such a great community. This one is for Canner. Let's go Kraken. For sure, Gary. Like I said, it is so great to have you back. Great to have you on Discord today and talk throughout the game. It's this team is so great, and this community is even better. The community that has sprung up around the Kraken, and not just here in the within the ECH bubble, if you will, but just everywhere. And Seattle, it's a sports town, and they just absolutely embrace all of it. I love it. Oh, I absolutely love it. So great, so great. Appreciate everyone being in here. Let's go through some more here in chat. I mean, it's just all over the place. It's like a mile long. Oh man, I love it. I love it. Have I said I love this community? The whistle was after the hit from QHN. That's what I thought initially too, but then I kept seeing things that was saying that it was post whistle, including the guys on TBS. I went back. I do think that it was just the crowd was so loud at that point that you could not hear it because of the breakaway. I really just think that you couldn't hear the whistle, but I do believe that the whistle was there. And that you just couldn't hear it initially. But I do believe that it looked like the refs were in the process of blowing it all down. Let's see. Fusion Mix. I missed a whole section of the first period because TBS moved it to True TV, but I think I'm glad I didn't have to see McCann get buried. This whole we need to flex it out because of the previous game. This happens every year. I get it. They can't afford to push off the West Coast games too late because it does make them too late. I absolutely understand that. Why all of a sudden this year, this TBS thing, they're flexing to True TV because all they've got is Impractical Jokers all day long. Nobody's really going to miss that, right? I get that. Switching while the game is still going is inexcusable. Absolutely inexcusable. I've never seen that. I have never seen that. We had to deal with this with ESPN. They pushed it to ESPNU. They at least waited until there was a TV timeout to make the switch and have everybody switch so that you don't miss anything. I had to switch back because they just cut it like that, like just basically no warning. And then I had to cut it. And by the time I got there, face off had already happened. Play is underway. And there was a goal not too long after that. I think the Will Borgen goal was not too long after that. I believe it was that one. Just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Absolutely inexcusable. They have to figure that one out. I can't believe that that's a rights issue. I just think that that's Turner not doing a good job of handling that situation. But you should always wait for a TV timeout so that everybody has the ability and time to switch over without missing anything. Either that or start it on TBS, keep it on True until that TV timeout, and then send everybody over. But it's absolutely inexcusable that we have to miss live action because they have to change which channel they have it on. I mean, you know what I mean? Dutha with the super chat. Thank you very much. Best of 3 series now. Let's win the next one for McCann. Definitely. I cannot wait to see what the Road Warriors have in store for us. Game 5 in Colorado. It's going to be big. It's going to be epic. I love it. I mean, the Avalanche had a really hard time dealing with us in Colorado, trying to figure out their line matchups, trying to figure out all that stuff, because the bottom line is when you've got a team as deep as the Kraken, it's just, it's pick your poison. Somebody's always going to get going there. And the Kraken, they played so well in those games, jumped out to good starts. They were feeling it. They don't let opposing crowds get to them in the slightest. I love that about this team. Tanev blowing the kisses to the crowd, all of it. Like, it's going to be so great. I think having Geeky back is huge. Oh, I cannot wait for that game. I cannot wait for that game. Ugh, we got to wait 2 days too. How ridiculous is that? Paul, great game. Let's talk about how great Schultz played all 4 periods. I talked about him on the deep dive that came out yesterday. We recorded it yesterday. Justin Schultz is playing out of his mind. This is the best hockey he has played all season long from Justin Schultz today. And this one, I mean, I talked most of that about his offense on the podcast, but today his defense was incredible. He was so solid, active stick, defending the slot, fantastic, staying in passing lanes. He was breaking up passes. he's insane right now. Like, he has found that playoff level of hockey. He's a guy been there, won Stanley Cups. He understands what it takes, and he is reaching in within himself, and he is pulling out all of that playoff mojo. Justin Schultz for me right now has really been the MVP of the playoffs for the Seattle Kraken. He has played that good. Yeah, it's just incredible. And I know it's not all showing up in stats. He's not getting, a ton of points, although he's getting a decent amount. I think his assist tonight makes it 5 through these 4 games. But Justin Schultz cannot say enough good things about him. Cannot say enough good things about him. Stratic, my respect for Colorado has dropped so far in one game, not just some on the dirty play, but they didn't look like a very smart team for doing it. They were so inconsistent and unhinged. We're completely in their heads. And we saw this with Bednar's quotes after the last game. We saw this with McKinnon's quotes after the last game. You can just tell that we are in their heads. They have no idea how to deal with us. They did not expect that we were going to put up this kind of fight. They did not expect that they were going to have to deal with the issues that they are dealing with as far as trying to slow down this Kraken team, as far as trying to stop them. We had, what was it, Byram, who was I think it was Byram who was mic'd up for this one, and you heard during the stoppage, he's talking with Eric Johnson, and they're talking about how Morgan Geekie is entering the zone, and they're trying to figure out how to stop it. During stoppages, like, one, I'll give them credit. Great job of communicating from one defensive pairing to another about what to do. The guys playing on the same side. I think all hockey players should do that. I think that is the way to handle it. But it just goes to show you they're not having a moment to deal with it. Like, they're trying to deal with everything on the fly, and it's a lot for them to be dealing with. And I think that's what we're seeing here. I absolutely love it. I mean, they're just going off, off, off. Tammy, more treats for Dogskoy. So proud of our guys, and the depth keeps going with Coachella winning their first series. The future near and far is bright. Absolutely. We haven't even talked about that, but congrats to the Firebirds for beating Tucson in their first ever playoff series down at the AHL level. It's just fantastic. It was a great shutout for Joey Decor in that final game. I believe it was 5-0 in that deciding game 3, because they were best of a 3 series there. So, see, something good to look forward to here for the Kraken, a best of 3 series. And yeah, Shane Wright picked up a goal in that one. David Goyette picking up an apple. So talking about the guys that are, coming up for everybody, the future is bright. Those big names there, they're getting playoff experience, at playing against men at a very high level of hockey. There's nothing but good stuff coming for the Kraken. It's so fantastic. I love it so much. Thanks for the super chat, Tammy. Let me get Afra back up here for you as well. I'll get the treat situation going here. Come on, Afra. Come on. Let's see. Let me go back up here and chat somewhere. Would you rather play Kings or Oilers? Well, it's a little irrelevant unless we were to get to the Western Conference Finals, which is a ways away. So I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves really for anything. But because we were playing Colorado, they won their division. We're actually in that Central Division bracket. So the winner of this series is going to have to play the winner of the Minnesota-Dallas series, regardless of who wins our series, whatever, and regardless of who wins that 2-2 series. That is what the next round matchup is going to be for either Colorado or Seattle. And as far as that goes, Dallas probably, just because, like, wow, this thing is going, like, Minnesota is just out there. Talk about targeting players, trying to injure guys, being overly physical, all that kind of stuff. That is what Minnesota is absolutely doing right now. So I do not want to have to see them if it can be avoided. Ty, Patreon live stream needs to happen if it goes to 7. You're absolutely obligated, lol. Totally possible, Ty. We will definitely talk about that because it will be in Colorado. I know when we had looked into me going to Colorado for maybe games 1 and 2, we just decided that the money was just too much to do. But we kind of said, game 7, we want to have somebody there to be able to cover that. Assuming things like would go well in a situation like that, to be able to have somebody there to get all that stuff that goes on behind the scenes and whatnot. So we'll see if that is to transpire, but got to get there. And the bottom line is we could win in 6, and I would probably rather just win in 6 than have to put myself through all the stress that would be a game 7. Just being honest. But definitely, definitely, definitely. Ethan's Tech World. Hey, been a little while. Glad to see you back. Man, I freaking love Seattle sports fans. We are far and above the best. The drive, the passion, the noise. Love it. Let's go Kraken for sure. Lindsay, did you see Eberle's expression after his goal when he looked up at the crowd and just soaked it all in? So wholesome. So happy for him. So happy for all of those guys to be able to do that. Like last game, Maddie with that celebration, right? There's a huge celebration for Maddie. Score in front of the home fans in a playoff game, a Stanley Cup playoff game. You could just see it. And yeah, for Eberle, get your first goal of this postseason. OT GWG on the power play. Absolutely love it. You're tying the series up. One again, the Kraken deserved to win this game. They outplayed Colorado. There's no metric you can point to that says Colorado should have won this game. I'm looking right now at just the basic aspects of the box score. There's only two things Colorado has a larger number in, and that's penalty minutes, which isn't good, and giveaways, which isn't good. So again, Kraken deserved to win this game. Really, really happy that they were able to close it out. And that's without even, again, mentioning the McCann stuff again. Daniel, Seattle was ready for the NHL, but I don't think the NHL was ready for Seattle and the craziness that happens around sporting events as our teams are involved in. Agreed. And you'll hear about it whenever the business of the NHL comes up. One of the things everybody loves to talk about is Seattle, because Seattle fans have been supporting the Kraken at insane historic levels, let me tell you, behind the scenes. And the NHL is very, very happy about that. But now, finally, ready to join us. We get RJ coming in to join us, looking dapper again as well. Love to see it. RJ, there is so much to talk about here. I mean, you can pick and choose where you want to start, whether it's, with the score, the going to OT and that whole experience, or if you want to start with maybe the quotes from the coaches or the team. I'm just going to cede the floor to you because I need to drink something.
Right. There was so much going on after this game. I mean, you could hear the music bumping in the locker room. The guys were having a great time. Again, sorry for joining everybody so late, but there was just so much. Hearing from Jaden Schwartz, from Jordan Eberle. I love Jordan Eberle's answers. He was kind of up at the table in the media room about not just, scoring the goal, going through that, but kind of what that goal meant to him, to everybody who was on this team all through last year. And he said, look, we want to make Seattle a hockey town. We want to provide these moments because this is like the best part of what hockey is all about. And so to be there and to be able to give the fans moments like that, that's what means the most out of something like this. And I could go through all the X's and O's kind of from Dave Haxtell too. He talked about the power play improving, the defensive structure improving, and just getting through the neutral zone better, managing the puck a lot better. That was one thing that he really harped on before the game, and then they did so much better of a job. He even kind of chuckled like, yeah, it was a little different, than the last game. Jordan Eberle also was talking about just how he was kind of joking with the players a little bit. They were joking around before the game, like, hey, yeah, this is the biggest game in Kraken franchise history. So it was definitely present in their minds, even though, 2 years in, maybe it means something a little different, but they were thinking about it. And now Jordan Eberle has the biggest goal in Kraken franchise history.
Yeah, he does. I mean, we talked about that. Lindsay bringing up, going back to the World Junior days with him, right? Scoring these massive game-winning goals. Like, he is just that guy. Sergeant Pickles with the super chat here. Dud, McCarr just made the list. Studs, Bearded Borgie Bombs, Spronger Silky Snipes. Ebb says, who's your daddy? This deserves a glass of the good stuff. Absolutely. Hope you're enjoying yourself, Sergeant Pickles. Thanks for the super chat. I mean, there's just so much about this game, RJ. It is so incredible. I mean, the crowd was electric. Again, we've heard that from Gregor. We've heard that from some other people who were there. I mean, what were you thinking when this game was going to overtime?
I was actually nervous. I was feeling pretty nervous about it. I wasn't sure how I would feel exactly because you've covered games, especially when lots of stuff is going on, where you're kind of more concerned about like making sure you cover it all properly, making sure you analyze it. The whole, I've got to get this on and this and this. But I was able to just kind of watch it, and I was kind of concerned, but are the Kraken going to win? And so it was really tense. I had Darren Brown from Sound of Hockey right next to me. I mean, I think he even more than me was just this glass case of emotion. It was pretty fun. I mean, he's been covering the Steve Eck even longer than we have, and just for him to watch him was entertaining in itself. but yeah, as the game was going to overtime, I felt like it was a coin flip. I felt like it was a 50-50 game, and it was just going to take some bounce or maybe a penalty like it did to go one way or the other. And I also just figured, what are the odds? It's the third game in a row they go in tied into the third. What are the odds they lose three in a row? This is the fourth game in a row that they score first. What are the odds they lose three of those in a row? Like, they should win, right? Right?
Yeah. Law of
But
averages says they have to, right?
But the other thing I was thinking about during the intermission was just I was reflecting on the fact that the Kraken fans have kind of leveled up so much in front of our very eyes. And that was my biggest takeaway right away, is just kind of how proud I was of everybody in the building for making that atmosphere what it was. Whether it was like booing Cale Makar every time he touched the puck, or just the loud cheers from start to finish. I mean, the fans were behind the team the entire game, and it was loud, it was energetic all through the third, going to overtime. I'm kind of so proud of everyone. The Yanni chants, chanting Yanni's name as he's going with Josh Manson. This was the best atmosphere in this building, and honestly, it's not even close. It was kind of even a mile better than the last game.
Yeah, it sounded incredible. Again, jealous that you're there. Sounds like maybe, next time if the situation happens in game 6, maybe an OT situation, need to set up some sort of like live stream. You just got to record Darren. We'll work out something with Sound of Hockey, do a collab, right? And we'll make that happen maybe. I think that would be a lot of fun. I think before we go back to chat, the last thing that we need to kind of talk about, get your thoughts on and everything, and maybe what if anybody on the team mentioned it, is of course the Jared McCann situation, the hit, the play, the aftermath, all of that kind of stuff.
Right, and that was the biggest takeaway from some of the post-game answers. We got a little bit of clarity there. The players didn't really want to go too far into it, understandably, but Dave Haxtell did, and he said that Jared McCann will for sure be out for Game 5 and probably longer. So he said kind of for the future, going forward, he's not going to be available for us, and he seemed quite upset with the hit. He called it a very late hit. He was saying that watching the video back, you could see a fan was catching the puck as McCann was getting run into the boards. It was a very late hit. He kind of did not shy away from that. He strongly disagreed with it being turned into a 2-minute penalty upon review. So it kind of matches, what I thought about it. And yeah, I mean, he didn't hold back on it. And why should he? I think he even said something to the effect of, and there all of a sudden there's our 40-goal score. Just gone. And he was not happy about the hit, to say the least. And so I've got to agree with all of that. I thought it should have been a 5-minute major. The puck was long gone, as the video I guess shows. If a fan's catching the puck when that hit begins, that's interference, and it's bad interference. And I got video of Jared McCann kind of trying to get up off the ice slowly. I'm not sure how much the broadcast showed. I didn't want to post it. I didn't post it because it's clear that he's concussed. It's clear that he's struggling to get off the ice, and he was wobbly, he was woozy. It was not good. And I hope he's all right. You worry about a guy's long-term health with something like that. Cale Makar, not usually a dirty player. That's not really his game, but that was a very dirty hit.
Yeah, it was. And I know there's been a lot of pushback. That I think that's the most comments I've ever received on a tweet of ours. It seemed like on this one. And I know that there's been pushback from Avs fans. I talked about it earlier, RJ. Q Stealth put it in chat what Makar's quote was after the game about it, and he thought McCann had the puck. I get that. That's the only thing I could think of, is that he did he did think that he was there. And the bottom line is that can be your excuse as a player, but it can't be the ref's excuse. And for the refs to bring it down to the 2 minutes was just, I just don't know how they did that, especially once we looked it up and realized that like they could have tossed him from the game for that. Forget just making it a major. They could have made it a misconduct. I'm still flabbergasted by that decision, and we'll see.
Right. And I know Bednar said that he assumes because it was changed to a 2-minute minor that there will be no supplemental discipline for Makar. We'll see what Department of Player Safety does. I'm certainly not holding my breath on any of that. We've known to assume the worst from them. So I don't think we'll see anything further from that. I don't know. It's an unfortunate situation. It's going to be really tough going forward for the Kraken without Jared McCann.
Yeah, I will say this just because of what he said there, and this goes back to something I said earlier. It's not a it looked like based on the rule book as I was reading it that it's the refs in the building that have to make that decision. It's not Toronto. So that
Yeah,
does mean that it would be different people that would then decide later on if there needs to be additional discipline,
right. But
which
the league usually stands by their officials. That's what where I'm kind of getting at.
I know. They definitely do that. I've already said it with you. You know, they're just going to point to it and say principal point of contact was shoulder to shoulder. Everything after that doesn't matter, and everything before that doesn't matter. That's what they do. But the TBS crew afterward during that third intermission before overtime, they really were thinking that this is going to get looked at. But you know, I think that's probably wishful thinking, just alongside all of the rest of us.
Right.
Daniel, you know, let's talk about going back to chat. The McCann situation did open up different things because that spot needs to be filled on in the lineup, not just for next game, but it needed to be filled for the rest of this game. And so Daniel asking, was Donato and McCann's spot on the top line permanently? I loved seeing Geeky back as fourth line center. I know we had just gotten Geeky back on that second line, RJ. It was doing its thing. And then this whole thing, we see the lineup shuffle. What did you think of that situation and how Hacksaw kind of handled that, you know, really on the fly? It's a tough situation to be in as a coach.
For sure, I thought he handled it really well, and there was a lot of shuffling that needed to be done when you lose a guy like Jared McCann. It's hard; you can't replace him. I mean, you really can't. But he put Ryan Donato in that spot, and I really liked that decision. I thought Donato played really well in that spot. All of a sudden, you started to notice Ryan Donato really kind of jumping off the page. At least for me, there were a few plays that he made where I was like, "Oh man, that's a Ryan Donato play." Driving hard to the net, that wraparound attempt that he had, plays like that, and also we know he has the chemistry with Matty Beniers, and I think that's a big factor. We even talked about it before the season started. Like, what are the odds he might be able to earn a spot on that line? But when you're down some players, I think Ryan Donato is probably the guy to put there. And it ended up having ripple effects all the way down the lineup. We saw so many different forward line combinations. But I thought Hackstall overall handled it really well, and the players stepped up. That is something the players talked about, whether it was Johnny Gord or Jaden Schwartz. They both mentioned stepping up for their teammate when their teammate goes down, and how important it is to do that. And we've seen that from this group from day one, even back to last season. They always step up for their teammates.
Yeah, no, they absolutely do. The culture around this team is fantastic. We've talked about that so many times. A lot of it. I like Donato being up there as well. We'll see if they roll with that for the next game. But yeah, I thought the other thing about it was he got Beniers going. Like Beniers started playing with a different level of intensity, I felt like, in this game, especially as it got going and went further and further on. And I do wonder if some of Donato's energy and his willingness to go be physical, go to the corners, do all that kind of stuff was starting to wear off on Matty a little bit, because Matty was really making plays there, especially in that third period, that one sequence he had. He was totally going for it. I love to see that from Matty. Definitely. Gord line looked fantastic again. Wenberg and Schultz, when Tanev ascended up to their line to kind of help even things out, I thought that line looked really well. So it'll be interesting to see what Dave Hackstall wants to go ahead and do for the Game 5 lineup. Froden probably comes back in.
Probably. I mean, he's the extra forward, so unless they want to call somebody up, I might think about it. Honestly, I'm sorry. Froden did not impress me that much when he was in the lineup in Geeky's place. Maybe a Max McCormick might do a little better, or you don't want to take away from Coachella Valley, given the playoff run they're on. But I don't know. Maybe you look at someone who can give you a little bit of a spark.
I was going to say this series is more important organizationally.
Yeah.
I get it. Coachella, maybe they even have a better chance of winning their championship, but this is the Stanley Cup playoffs. It's the NHL level. You're tied 2-2 with the defending Stanley Cup champions. You have to give this series your all. It has to be priority for the organization. I suspect we'll see what we saw last time. Max McCormick is called up. Just because that's clearly who they've decided they want to be that extra guy. And then, yeah, my guess is they probably, just because Froden has already played in this series, he's been around the guys and everything. He's been practicing with them, doing morning skates with them. I think we'll probably see Froden in the lineup. It would be kind of odd for me to think about them calling in somebody for such an important game going into Colorado. That being said, it's a best of 3 series now, RJ. This is kind of the situation we wanted. You get 2 road games in there. I think the Kraken they have a shot here. They really do.
They're in a good spot. I mean, through these 4 games, if they've proven anything, it's that they can hang with Colorado consistently. Every single game, they can hang with them. And going back on the road, I don't know. I like 2 out of the 3 being on the road.
Me
It
too.
makes me feel confident. So I think they're in a really good spot, despite being down Jared McCann. I don't know. We'll see if he can. I don't want them to rush him back. Honestly, I think they should approach that with caution.
The fact that he's already ruled him out for the next game tells me that they
That tells me.
won't. Right? Because you know as well as I do, there's a ton of coaches in the National Hockey League who wouldn't say that. And so the fact that Dave Axtell said that, I think it lets you know how serious the situation is, but I think also too it tells you kind of where their mindset is with that player. Because you know a lot of teams you'd say, hey, your top goal scorer just had that happen. They're not saying like definitively
Yeah.
days in advance of the next game that they're out. Blaze King Gaming, big props to the out of market people who looked at my city's team and picked them as your team. From a lifelong Seattleite, much love. Definitely, absolutely love it. Our community is fantastic. I talked about the East Coast people earlier, RJ. I mean, it's
Good.
everybody everywhere. It's been all about this. Ty, the holding on Borgen was also total crud. He got chicken winged bad. That call led to the second goal. Refs are having too much influence over the playoffs league wide. Care to comment, RJ?
You know, I will say, I thought, and it went both ways at times. I thought the officiating this game was really poor.
It was.
I thought the officials did a bad job. One, keeping the game under control, and two, just the calls. It just seemed random at times. There were kind of more egregious things that went uncalled both ways. There were really soft calls that did get called both ways. I thought this was the worst officiated game in this series for sure, by far.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Um, I totally agree with you. It was odd too. I really don't get it. On this one, where was it? It just moved on me. Sorry. Back in my day, that would have been a bench clearing brawl. Makar would not have finished this game with his teeth. Yeah. I mean, do you think that there's anything to that? That the Kraken? I mean, they did get more physical after this. I mean, Kraken had 57 hits, if I'm remembering right.
Mm-hmm.
No, 52 hits.
That is a franchise record, by the way.
Yes, definitely a record for them. That's the largest number there that I've seen. You could tell, like in the immediate shift afterwards, Jamie Alexiak gave 3 really solid, shoves, maybe 1 or 2 cross checks in there to Nathan McKinnon. But I do like the fact that the Kraken are not a team that is going to let something like that affect them, and they're just going to go out there for revenge and kind of maybe throw away the game over something like that. They kept their heads in it and they said the best revenge we can get is by winning this game.
They knew the only way they could really get revenge was on the scoreboard. When you're down 2-1 in a series, you don't really have that option. Because even, if you kind of get even physically, if you lose this game, the Avs get exactly what they want. They get a 3-1 series lead, and they get to go close it out potentially at home. The Kraken knew this was, I think it was pretty much a must-win game for them. There's no time to settle physical scores when that's the case. And I think they're a team that just has the mental makeup that works for that. There's nobody that's going to get drawn into doing anything stupid.
Yeah. Oh no. They're a good team, and again, credit to the coaching staff on that as well. Able to keep everybody focused, and I thought it was huge that they were able to go out and score on that power play with Daniel Sprong there. I mean, the depth is back, RJ. Right? Seeing 3 guys, all 3 goal scorers pick up their first goal of this series. I mean, this is just what this Kraken can do. Any given night, just people are going to step up and go out there and score. And again, Colorado just doesn't have answers for it. They just don't.
They don't, and that was a topic of conversation, whether it was the players or Hackstall. He talked about the depth is our game. That is how we win when we get contributions from down the lineup. And I think Hackstall even made kind of a comment. I can't really replicate his tone, but he's like, obviously that's not the way they win. That's not their game. Is the depth game, kind of implying they really rely on their stars a lot. It's a difference in this series, and it's going to be that battle back and forth. But when you have a guy like Daniel Sprong contributing, we talked about him before the series. We knew he had to be an X factor if the Kraken were going to accomplish something in this series. Showed up in this game big time after I think we were a little bit critical too on the podcast, and we knew he was dealing with some kind of injury, but that was huge. That power play goal after the Cale Makar hit on McCann. I think that's up there with the overtime winner as far as just important goals. Because without that, I think the Kraken are just kind of helpless at that point.
No, I think that that's really, it helped focus them. It helped them, remember that, look, the game is more important here. We got to deal with that, make sure we win it and all of that. I think it's huge. studs from Becca here. Turbo and Wenny made sure kids got pucks. Yanni made sure squids got pucks. Duds, Kale McCarr is a jerk. Definitely. I mean, those boos were loud, RJ, every time
They
he touched
were.
the puck.
I was so proud of everyone. I thought it would kind of die off by the end of the game. No, every bit as loud from like the moment that hit went to the end of the game. I mean, there was even, I don't know if the broadcast caught it, but there was a sing-along to Bohemian Rhapsody going. And they were in the middle of it, and then all of a sudden Cale McCarr touched the puck. Instant shower of booze. Like, there goes the sing-along. Just, that's more important. So I thought that was a really cool moment.
It was. I loved to hear that. You could totally hear it on the broadcast. It was fantastic. My favorite part was on the power play, as they're, Avalanche is cycling the puck, so he keeps touching it, and it's like boo, boo, boo.
Yep,
that was
little booze. Yeah,
I just absolutely love that. Seattle Sasquatch asking, could this be the next mega rivalry? Could we get to Avalanche versus Red Wings playoff intensity? Let's go. I mean, this is the kind of game, RJ. It had all the elements that absolutely would lead you to think that, yeah, this is maybe the Kraken's first really serious rivalry, right? It's playoffs, it's overtime, controversy, all the elements are there.
Yeah, this is how rivalries are made. And I think fans, especially if you're the newer fan, kind of understand what we were talking about during the regular season, saying, well, if playoffs make rivalries in a different way than the regular season possibly can. And after having experienced this game, I think you know exactly what we were talking about. But yeah, this had all the elements, and I think it could be very well be on their way. I mean, we'll see how these final two games go. But it's funny. I was joking with Darren before the game about how this series has been so tame compared to all the other ones. There was no real animosity. I mean, it was kind of physical, but it was just on a whole lower level below any other series. And now it's been ratcheted up completely.
Yeah, tonight was a completely different thing. I mean, they did during the broadcast just like a little montage of all the hits in this one. And it was like, okay, yeah, this is looking like, that Boston, Florida series where it's just guys are just getting leveled. Like you just touch the puck, you just going to end up on the ground. Like that's just the way it is. I love it. It's playoff hockey. There's some good stuff in there for sure. Daniel, the PK on the Larson penalty was amazing. I mean, penalty kill again, stepping up. Yes, the Avalanche eventually got a power play goal. You knew you weren't going to keep them off the board forever. But again, only 1 for 3 tonight, right? This PK is absolutely incredible. And on that one, to do it without Adam Larson, I mean, he's been such a stud on that PK all year long. He's been really the backbone of it. So, I mean, all of them are fantastic. And really, the forwards for me on the PK right now are the guys that I'm just in awe of. All of it has been great.
Yeah, and the Avs, their best players like to kind of cycle up top and try and get lost there with Cale McCarr and Nathan McKinnon, the way they cycle up top. And the forwards have to deal with that. And it's very difficult. It's easy to get caught flat-footed against either of those two guys. And they manage not to. Yanni or Brandon Tanev. I mean, it's incredible skating-wise what they're able to do. It's a lot harder than it looks, keeping with someone defensively there up top. And I mean, what more can you say about this penalty kill? Just absolutely clutch all series long. And yeah, they gave up a goal, but that means they're just back to 100% net during the series.
Definitely, because we got that shorty beforehand. Aaron, let's switch it on the special teams. Aaron saying power play is 3 for 6. The last little bit here. If you go back to the last game, at the end of last game, they're on fire. They are. I mean, power play woke up in this one and they needed it. And, again, we talked about this, whether it was going to be face-offs or the power play or whatever, those are the things that are the difference for the Kraken. Whether it was regular season games, we knew it was going to be that case for the playoffs. Tonight, you win more face-offs than they do. You scored more on the power play, and it was the difference.
Yeah, have you talked about face-offs yet? Because I noticed an interesting strategy. Having the wingers go in and take them, cheat in, and you know what? Fine. If you get kicked out, we'll actually have the center come in and try and take it.
Yes. So that was talked about. Somebody actually asked specifically, are we just getting targeted by these refs that we keep getting tossed like too much? I didn't pick up on the winger thing because me and face-offs. It's just the one thing I can't ever figure out for whatever reason. But I did say, the Kraken knew that they had to win those. Is that like a car screeching? They drifting down there?
It is sounds like a fan. Someone, I don't with the yelling and a Kraken. So.
All right. It felt like this was one where we knew the team knew that they needed to put an emphasis on winning the face-offs. They were getting absolutely killed by that. And so I felt like, yeah, you know what? If they're getting tossed extra in this one, it's just because they're cheating. They're trying to go a little bit early if they can. And so yes, you're confirming that.
Yeah,
Um,
I love that strategy, by the way. And Hackstall
yeah.
mentioned on the off day between games too. We need to cheat a little bit more on the face-offs, and that is what you have to do in a playoff series. Like, it sounds weird, but that's what they did, and it worked. I don't know what the final face-off numbers were, but I checked at one point; it was 60% for the Kraken. Such a dramatic difference.
Yeah. Oh man. So good. Let's see. Nathan, my only complaint about the game-winning goal is they need to let that goal horn ring out just a little bit longer.
Yep. I know, just a little. I think everybody was still a little bit caught off guard from that. I know, like the power play, you see it coming. There was also like a tiny blast of the goal horn even after the celebration. Everything. I think just everybody was going nuts. I don't blame anyone for, kind of struggling to figure it out in that moment.
Yeah, and I love the salute to the fans too after the team was done celebrating. I like that the team celebrated as long as they did there around Ebbs too. Like that was really nice to see for
That
sure.
was great. I don't know what the broadcast picked up, but you look at like Turbo's reaction too. That was great. If anyone wants to go back and look, I posted the whole video from my point of view
Oh,
from the press box, and it picked up some really good things.
definitely.
And also, I know our photographer Jen must have got some great shots of that. Check on the Instagram. Check the Instagram for those photos.
Yeah.
It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, those will be coming out tonight and certainly all day tomorrow. Definitely worth
She's
it.
giving me a look. It might take a little bit. There's a lot to sort through.
There's a lot. I know. It's gonna be great though. It'll be worth the wait, and it just means we get to relive the moment throughout the next little bit. It's gonna be great. I do have 2 questions for you though, RJ.
Yeah.
Davy Jones hat, and who got to put the puck on the board?
I don't know the answer to either of those. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I looked around for the Davy Jones hat, couldn't find it, and yeah, I mean the puck
That's
on the
fine.
board.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell who puts it there if you don't see him do it.
Who would you give the Davy Jones hat to? I said it was really a team game. So
It
I think you
was.
just got to go with Ebbs because I mean OTGWG, right?
You know what? My sleeper pick for this, and maybe this is more of a Davy Jones pick for it because he wasn't named one of the stars. I haven't heard his name mentioned yet. But you know who I thought might have been the Kraken's best player as far as just doing all the really small things? I don't even know if he showed up on the score sheet.
Justin Schultz.
Good answer. Oliver Bjorkstrand.
Okay, yeah. We had somebody.
I loved all the little things he was doing in this game, winning 50-50 battles, making good passes, being extra physical. I mean, this is one, if you go back and like watch this game and we'll do a deep dive tape study, so many things from Oliver Bjorkstrand just standing out that I wanted to kind of clip at that point. I would have if I was more able to and wasn't here at the game.
Yeah, no, we had somebody in chat, Kyle. Bjorky just Bjorky the biggest Bjorky game of all time, or something like that. It was definitely there. Loved it. That Yanni Gord line, fantastic. Yanni Gord, I mean, going back to talking about faceoffs, down at 30% for the series going into this game, 67% today. Really stepped it up. So good for Yanni. I don't know if you've looked at the box score very closely or not, RJ. Jaden Schwartz and shots on goal. Do you know what that number is for him?
Let's see. I'm gonna guess like 6 or 7. He had that one where he's whacking away at the pad and the puck snuck in underward. That's got to be a few at least.
What if I give you an over/under of 9.5?
Oh my!
Based on
I take the under just from like trying to be somewhat reasonable. What is it?
Well, you're definitely wrong. 11.
11 shots. I should have checked that. That would have been great to ask him a question. Just throw that stat out there.
When was the last time you saw 11 in the shots on goal column here on the box sheet? It's insane.
I wonder how many they gave him on that one where he was just literally trying to, kind of throw Georgiev and the puck into the net, just jamming away at that. That was a great play.
Down. They just held the button down.
They held the button down. He was asked too, like, did you think that was going to count? Did you think it went in? All that stuff. He's like, I don't know. I had 4 guys on top of me. I couldn't see anything.
You just going at that point. Ty Biz Nasty had some great stuff to say about Seattle on his pod. Even said Bowie has earned his place and offered a truce. Worth a listen if you get a chance. I will definitely check that out, Ty. Thank you. CDO Eberly said on TBS his daughter is terrified by Bowie. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's adorable, though. I get it. I get it. You know, it's
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot going on with Bowie. You know what I mean? As a little kid, I can see that.
Oh yeah.
Um, that's fantastic. After this game, the West is wide open. Only Vegas has a 3-game lead. Everyone else in the West is tied up. Gotta love the playoffs. Um, like it would be a 2-game lead for Vegas, right?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
3-1, but I
yeah.
know what they meant.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean the West it's wild. This is I do like this about hockey. I mean the parity, it makes for such good playoffs, RJ.
It does. It's so fun this year too, and especially with the Kraken being very much in it at this point. You know, you're rooting for longer series too. Like you want that Minnesota Dallas series go as long as it possibly can.
Mhm.
You know, for your potential opponent. I mean, it's great just watching around the league.
Yeah. Let's see. Ty, man, look at the shot chart and expected goals. Imagine if this team could finish. Need to get that killer instinct for next season and capitalize on the opportunities. I know I checked the money puck, the good old winnow meter, RJ,
Mhm.
in the third period, and it was just pegged at 86%. It's finished 86.4% in favor of the Kraken. It was it was a huge game from them. You go and you look at like the line stats and stuff, and really just all these lines were absolutely killing it. The Kraken, they outplayed them in everything. The only 2 things they didn't outplay them in, RJ, was penalty minutes. The Avalanche had more, and giveaways. The Avalanche had more. But, you know, if you got to lose something, those are the things
Yeah,
to
those are
lose.
some good categories if you got to lose something. And I mean, you look at the shot quality too. The Kraken reached the one expected goal mark 4 minutes into
Right
the
away.
game.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I would definitely recommend people go to Money Puck, go click on this game. You can look at the shot chart, but if you scroll down to the expected goals like kind of chart thing, just the gap between the 2 teams as the game keeps going and Seattle just keeps going up. It's really something to see. Shoeshine, when the booze stopped stopped Bohemian Rhapsody, I yelled, "You ruined our song, Makar."
That's funny.
Add it to the
He
list.
did.
Add it to the list of reasons to boo him again in Game 6, because we're getting a Game 6. RJ, get to go
I
to
know.
another game of Climate Pledge.
Another game in this building. I'm so excited. I was really hoping for that. I want to come back, and now I get to. So this is great. I'll have to find a different tie or something or a new shirt. Might have to go out and get another shirt.
Let's see. Daniel, I really thought Bjorky was going to get game winner. He was playing great for sure. Stryak, the Kraken PK finally gave up a goal after the Avs knocked PK or McCann out of the game. That's true.
Mm,
I mean,
that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, I talked about him after last game, how great he was. All right, everyone's giving us a lot of Grooves in chat here. I guess we got to talk about Grubauer. I felt like this, you know, obviously Grubauer staying rock solid in there, keeping the team in it. Obviously, anytime the game goes to overtime, it means the goaltender's doing a good job. Unless it's like 8-8, I guess. But Grubauer, another fantastic game from him. I mean, he's the guy. I guess that's why we haven't really talked about it. This is just becoming normal. He's just there. He's a stud.
Exactly. You expect this kind of game out of him, and he absolutely brought it. And especially in overtime when the Avs were putting on a push early. Colorado had a really good start to overtime, and I remarked after one of the saves, just like as nervous as we all were up in the press box and the fans and everything, I'm just like, Grubauer, he just looks so calm. Even getting up after that save, it's just like it's the beginning of the first period. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, no, he's just playing fantastic. A couple people in here talking about how you have to wear that same outfit. You got to wear it all for Game 6, RJ.
Okay, well, let's see. I changed up the shirt and tie from Game 3 to Game 4. I guess I got to keep this though. This is the winning,
Yes,
the
that's
winning combination. Everything. I don't think anyone would fault me for that, right? I mean, no one
no,
in the media would be like, "What? Same outfit? You got to change it up?" No, you
no,
can't.
no. It's NHL
All
playoffs.
right, going with
Everybody
this
knows this.
exactly.
Make sure to mark the socks, all that kind of stuff. And I won't get into whether or not you need to wash any of it.
I was
We'll
gonna
leave
say, do
that
I
alone.
need to watch? All right, no comment on that.
We'll
I'll
leave
leave
that
that up
alone.
to my yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Super chat here from Pete. Thank you very much, Pete. That was electric. Being there in person was a complete emotional roller coaster. Love this team. Love RJ's suit. Love the ECH community. Love you too, Pete. Congrats on being able to go to that game. I mean,
Hey,
it was
Dylan.
fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much for the feedback. Can I just take a minute? I'll be right back,
Okay.
real quick.
That was a smile. What's this mean? What's this mean? Hi, Jen.
It's a secret.
Okay.
Sorry.
Everybody say hi to Jen. Wonderful photographer. Love the pics. I love the Jamie Alexiak celebration pics. Those are great, Jen. All right, secret. What are we getting? What do you all think we're getting here? Who's gonna join? That's got to be the thing, right? Who's joining? I agree with you, Carlos. This is very suspicious, highly suspicious. Edward, RJ Suit now part of playoff legend for ECH community. Oh, for sure. Let's see. Silly question. Is there any way the Kraken could have challenged the holding penalty in the second period? On replay, the Avs player clearly grabbed to cause the penalty on the Kraken. No, unfortunately, there's no ability to challenge that. You can only challenge goal. And whether or not like there was interference or something like that on there. RJ has gone streaking from Dottie. I highly doubt that. And I would prefer maybe not to have to go, hop on a plane, go bail RJ out in Seattle. I love the creativity though. Bowie, that's maybe what I was thinking too. I don't know. Seattle Sasquatch, when RJ goes down to Colorado, will he wear that suit? RJ's not going to Colorado. If anybody goes to Colorado, it'll be me. I got to get in at least one playoff game if we're doing that. Come on. I got no problem being selfish there. Some Everett's. I have no idea what's going on. This is a nice prolonged period of suspense here. Definitely. Any chance Berkey comes back for game 5? No, Matthew. Unfortunately, they've already talked about it. He's out for this whole series
Okay.
and potentially longer.
You'll be here game 6, right? You'll be here game 6?
Huh?
Okay, we'll talk then. All right. Yeah, are you on press row? Yeah, I'm up on press row, the press bridge. So I'll see you. All right. Hi. Sorry about that.
What's up?
I know. Sorry, had to network a bit.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Nico Tamurian was there, and I hadn't actually talked to him yet. He wanted to meet me. He was sticking around. He was waiting to go until I could say hi. And so Jen's like, "Come on." So sorry everybody. Had to take a minute there.
Okay, everyone thought you were bringing Bowie on.
No,
Everett,
I wish.
somebody was. We were gonna get some special appearance. All right.
I wish. I owe you guys one. I owe you one.
Yeah, people will forget that,
Sure. I know.
Chandler, Bowie or a hot dog. Yeah, no, RJ just going to grab whatever leftover hot dog's been sitting there for an hour.
I know, man.
Hold on, I'll be right back. Love all that stuff. This has been a fantastic post game and everything. Being here with everybody. I mean, we're an hour and 20 minutes deep into this one. I think we'll
amazing.
Probably be wrapping it up here. I'll do a real quick last call. Shay, I had a revelation. Jordan Eberle is no stranger to clutch moments when the team needs him. Hello, Mr. Team Canada. I know. We talked about it earlier, but the dude just comes through in the clutch, RJ. He's just that guy.
He is, and I think back to him having the first hat trick here and everything. He's good for the big moments in this building.
Yeah, I mean, he is. I love to see it. Dylan has to be the one to go if anyone goes to Colorado. His power is unmatched, especially because I still have the pack of 5 gum.
Oh yes. Dip into that when you need. I don't know if we could handle that in the playoffs though.
If Kate was there too,
magic.
It would be incredible, everybody. Just the power would be there. Somebody had mentioned this earlier. Let me try to I know who it was. It was Jake, I believe. Yes, it was Jake. Bringing up Eeli Tolvanen's hit total, RJ. Now, he did lead the team in hits. Okay, and the Kraken set a franchise record with 52. I'm going to put the over-under at 6.5 for him.
I'll take the over because I remember 2 of them specifically. It was the shift after the Makar hit, when Makar came back onto the ice after the penalty. The one guy who was actually kind of trying to go after him and land a couple hits, that was Eeli Tolvanen. And I'd love to see that from him.
Yeah.
All absolutely. Clean, didn't take any dumb penalties, nothing that crossed the line, but he made sure to finish checks and give him some contact.
Oh, for sure. And I'm actually surprised. The number that surprises me more than the 8 hits, so you were right on the over that time. 0 shots on goal for Tolvanen from this one. Got to think we'll see that be a different number next time.
Yeah, that's not characteristic for him.
In game 5. Everyone's saying, speaking of Fitz's call in the game-winning goal was electric from Nathan. I can imagine.
Sure. I can't wait to go hear that.
Yeah, and Daniel saying Edzo and Forsland had a great OT as well. Definitely going to go and look at that. Edward 5 gum, Palpatine voice, chew it. I know. It only works in person though. Only works in person.
Yeah.
Can we just talk about Will Borgen's contract until RJ gets back? Nah, it's triadic. There'll be plenty of time come the off season.
Can't do
This
that
is time
without
for
me. Come
playoffs.
on.
I
I, I guess that's what I deserve for leaving for a bit.
yeah, exactly. All right, everyone. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us for this one. Series tied 2-2. It's going to be a best of 3. Kraken are rolling right now. I mean, this is. I feel it, RJ. This is going to go 7. Like, how could it
Yeah.
not after all this? This is a fantastic team. Love the depth. Love everything. Love Queen Anne Beer Hall for sponsoring the post game lives. And most of all, love all of you for being in here. Still 177 of you
That
with us. And it's 10 minutes to midnight on the West Coast here. So assuming most of you aren't all in like Hawaii, still chilling in prime time. So thank you all very, very much for being here with us. Cannot wait for game 5 on Wednesday. It's going to be electric. Can't wait to watch it all with you and see y'all next time.